This is a tutorial video for incorporating a speaker with your Mintronics pack using the outlet Flexi.on. You will need a 9-volt battery snap, 1K ohm resistor, a power switch, a 0.1 microfarad ceramic capacitor labeled with a 104, a 7805 voltage regulator, a 555 timer chip, mini breadboard, wire, and an outlet Flexi.on. Not included with the Mintronics pack is the speaker. Place the 555 timer chip onto the right side of the breadboard so that the chip forms a bridge between the two sides of the breadboard. Make sure that pin 1, indicated by the small circle on top of the chip, goes into the fourth hole from the right edge of the breadboard. Add the voltage regulator to the first pinhole in the second row of the bottom section of the breadboard so that the non-flat side of the voltage regulator is facing the larger part of the breadboard. Next, add the power switch to the third pinhole of the first row in the top section of the breadboard. It does not matter which orientation the switch is in, as long as it is horizontal across the breadboard. Cut a 2-inch piece of wire and strip both ends. Place this wire so that it goes in the pinhole just below pin 6 and then to the pinhole just above pin 2 of the 555 timer chip. Take another wire and cut about 2.5 inches. You can use a different color to distinguish it from the other wire on the breadboard. Connect this wire from the pinhole that's just above the middle pin of the voltage regulator to the pinhole that's just above the first pin of the 555 chip. Now take yet another wire about 1.5 inches long and place it from the pinhole that's just above the leftmost pin of the voltage regulator to the pinhole that is just below the leftmost pin of the power switch. Use another wire of the same color, 2.5 inches long, to connect the pinhole just below the middle pin of the power switch to the pinhole just below the 8th pin of the 555 chip. Next, take a 1K ohm resistor, identified by the color bands brown, black, red, and gold, in that order, and cut off some of the resistor wire to make the legs shorter for easier insertion into the breadboard. Place the resistor between the pinholes just below pin 8 and 7 of the 555 chip. It does not matter which orientation the resistor is placed, as resistors are reversible. Take the battery snap and place the black wire into the pinhole just below the middle pin of the voltage regulator. Now place the red wire into the pinhole below the rightmost pin of the voltage regulator. Next, take the capacitor marked with a 104 and place it in the pinholes just above pin 1 and 2 of the 555 timer chip. Like the resistor, the capacitor does not have polarity and can be placed in either direction. The speaker used in this video already has wiring soldered on with the green wire representing positive and the white wire representing negative. Connect the negative wire to the fourth pinhole of the first row of the upper right side of the breadboard so that it is aligned in the same column as pin 1 of the 555 timer chip. Now place the positive wire in the 6th pinhole of the first row of the upper right side of the breadboard so that it is aligned in the same column as pin 3 of the 555 timer chip. Now take a fully assembled outlet Flexi.on and connect one of the wires into the pinhole just below pin 7 of the 555 timer chip. Take the remaining wire and connect it to the pinhole just below pin 6. The outlet Flexi.on is reversible. Snap in your 9-volt battery and have fun.